What up, Panther Nation? Rockstar Gang. What up? What up? I got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about a lot of things, man. A lot of things. Got a lot on my mind to talk about here. Um, Again, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. As you're coming in, make sure you pound that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new content. And feel free to get in the comment section as we go along throughout today's live stream. So make sure as you're coming in, make sure you pound that like button and get in the comment section. That's really it. That's all I ask. Whether you want to subscribe or not, that's for you to decide if you like the content I'm putting out there. I hope that you do, but if not, I understand. If you're a Carolina Panthers fan or an NFL fan, this is the place for you to be. Again, my name's Clay Ropp, and this is the Ropp Star Report. So, appreciate everyone joining. We're going to be talking about lots of things. We've got some news, some rumors, and updates to talk about with the Carolina Panthers. We're also going to be talking about potential departures. So, guys, I believe we will not see in 2024. We're going to talk about players who need to sit their ass down the rest of the season. We're going to talk about players that are underperforming. We're also going to be talking about some free agents that maybe we should target because they're going to be free agents and there are definitely lots of wants and needs here. We've already done a couple mock drafts. I've already talked about the draft, guys who I think we should draft the wide receiver position. We're going to dive more into those kinds of things later on. And obviously, we're getting ready for the Tennessee Titans. So as we go throughout the week, even though tomorrow's Thanksgiving, I won't be live tomorrow. But Friday, definitely, I'll definitely have a live stream out there on Black Friday, and definitely we'll probably have a live stream on Sunday morning to break down that Titans game. So make sure you like, subscribe, and get in the comment section as we go throughout today's live stream. So I appreciate it. Again, like this comment says, just pound that like button. All right. And then King James in here. What up, King? What up? What up? What up? Appreciate you joining. All right. The Panthers hit rock bottom. So first off, news and updates. First things first. If you think about it this way, after losing 9 of their last 10 games, right? This team has hit rock bottom. This is probably maybe one of the worst situations I've ever seen with this team. We're now ranked the dead last in power rankings. Frank Wright's seat is boiling hot right now. I mean, I had a lot of praise for a lot of there's a lot of hot seat candidates here, right? YGM was one of them. I thought, and then of course he got injured and guys coming in, and then I had breakout candidates, all this stuff. And now it's just like, well, this player's gone. This coach is not going to be here. Like, this is now completely rock bottom. Like, we're literally talking about rumors about a head coach and his year one not being here next year. We're talking about coaches and players not being here, next year already. We're talking about whether Bryce Young's a bust or not. We're talking about the rumors whether we want CJ Stroud or not. We're talking about rumors that Scott Fitter is going to be gone or not. It's just like, it's such a mess. And it's crazy to me that now we've literally gotten to this point, right? And then everybody wants to talk about, like, Bryce Young looks like a bust. It's just like all these different things, man. But then we've got the other side of things where people are, agreeing with me. All I ask at the end of the day, though, guys, make it make sense. I mean, yesterday I did the game film room or game film sesh. All right. I tallied up mistakes, and there might have been some mistakes that I missed tallying up as I broke down the game film. But, Bryce made about 12 to 13 mistakes. The offensive line, I've tallied up 12 to 13 mistakes. And that wasn't even including the 15 pressures, the 7 sacks, and 11 quarterback hits. I'm just talking about missed blocks, just atrocious play. Okay. Again, the wide receivers, there was 3 or 4 plays that we saw that guys didn't get open. There was about 5 or 6 drops in that game that Bryce actually threw. Okay. But if we're going to sit here and blame, but the problem is that I'm having, and I just want people who watch my show and who know me, I've been doing this for about 3 years. Okay. I really have worked hard into bringing y'all as much raw content as I possibly can. And that's including working full time. Okay. And if you're going to come on my show and you want to have your opinion, you have every right. But don't come and just go straight into my comment section and say, well, Bryce is the issue. Bryce is part of the issue. He is a rookie. He's going to make rookie mistakes. But we got multiple issues, right? Owner meddling in with the football operations. General manager and scout team, terrible in the draft picks, free agent signings, list goes on, terrible trades, right? Head coaching issues between now Matt Rule, Frank Wright, right? The roster, there's lacks talent and depth in almost every position, especially the wide receiver, the corner, the linebackers, the defensive line, the offensive line, especially in those positions, I would say running back as well. The list goes on. And that, and then it's also, the issue is that this front office commitment to key players like Brian Burns, not getting an extension, but not trading him for the two first round picks and a second round pick from the Los Angeles Rams last year. So there's multiple issues. So before you jump on a rookie quarterback because you want to blame it on him, make sure you don't forget about the other issues. Because, again, make it make sense. Bryce has his issues, but let's not forget about the offensive line and the wide receivers not getting open and the offensive line not creating run lanes and not protecting Bryce either. So, again, let's just make it make sense before we just jump all over a rookie quarterback. Y'all can say he's not it. That's fine. You can believe in what you want, and that's okay. But, again, at the end of the day, let's not blame everybody. Let's not just blame our rookie quarterback. But, again, Carolina has to do something to help Bryce out because he is here now, guys. We have to stop living in the past about, well, CJ Stroud was the guy. He is, and maybe he was. But guess what? He's not here. So forget about it. And he's never going to be here. Okay? He's never going to be here. CJ Stroud will never be a Carolina Panther, whether you like it or not. AR-15 will never be a Carolina Panther, whether you like it or not. Okay? But so now what you have to do as a fan is embrace Bryce. Yes, if he's having a rough time on the field, man. Being sacked 7 times, having a guy who's putting pressure on you like Micah Parsons, 8 out of those 10 pressures. I'm going to bring this stat back to reality to you guys to make you understand this statistical stat. Out of the 10 pressures that Micah Parsons brought on Sunday, Bryce had 2.5 seconds to throw the ball. So as he's even taking if he takes a 3-step drop, that's 3 seconds. 2.5 seconds is how much time he had to throw the ball. I think on average, Tom Brady averaged 2.7 seconds got rid of the football. So again, that make it make sense. Make it make sense. I'm pretty sure on average through Tom Brady's career, Tom Brady threw the ball about when he would step up in the pocket, 2.7 seconds. Micah Parsons was getting through our offensive line in 2.5 seconds. So again, make it make sense. So you got to help Bryce. Whether you like it or not, he's here. He's having a rough time on the field. He got sacked 7 times on Sunday. Ike Ekwonu states that everyone on this team needs to do more to help, especially himself. And he's terrible. He's not a left tackle. Whether you like it or not, guys, Ike Ekwonu not a left tackle. He's stiff off the line. He's not a side-to-side agile player. He is straightforward and back. That's it. So his footwork is absolutely atrocious. And why they haven't found any solutions to that or tried to make some progression with him, why hasn't James Campen and helped and improved? Why haven't we seen any improvement in the offensive line? Why haven't we seen any improvement in the play calling? That's the questions we really need to be asking. Why are we not seeing progressions with the players that we do have? Because you got to find solutions. There's a false performance level here. You take Young out of the firing line for the rest of the season to prevent long-term damage. And that's the key there. And then Cam Newton's now coming out because Cam Newton's omission. He's got this omission coming out that he's been out of the league for almost 2 years. And of course, I think he wants to return. I think there is part of him that wants to return. Newton has admitted to seem to have moved on, and it's been a long time since everyone took a call from his representatives. And the former Panthers player has publicly acknowledged, meaning that he indicated that his retirement's not far off, and once retired, he may sign a one-day contract with Panthers to receive that, admiration to his contributions here to the organization. And then Frank Wright's on borrowing time, man. Despite the this team has made no infrastructure changes, and it sounds like Frank Wright is not going to, especially with the staff. Of course, he believes in this staff. He believes in these players like he cold-heartedly says he does, which we all know that's a bunch of bullshit. He was up on the podium the other day, looked like he had about a 16-pack of Budweiser and about a pack or two of Marlboro Reds. Okay, he's got his head down the whole time. He just looks like shit. Okay, and then he sounds like shit, and that's basically what's coming out. So we're just getting shit. Okay, but it's always like the saying says: you got something in this hand and shit in the other. Which one's gonna pile up faster? The shit. Okay, and basically at this point, I've never seen a coaching staff that has no idea, right? I've never seen has no idea what they're doing, it just seems like, and it just has just falling off. And the teams, and this is part of the reason why the performance is there. And hell, Tom Brady even took an interview the other day saying he's never seen, and he wasn't particularly talking about the Carolina Panthers. He's talking about the NFL in general. He says he's never seen poor coaching development in the NFL until this year. He said that the coaching development in the NFL is so poor that players are now reaping the benefits of it. And I think that's a proven factor of what we're seeing here in Carolina. This coaching staff chose to not bring in veterans in these certain positions. And now we're reaping the benefits of it because all these players that we do have on the roster are developmental players. They're all practice squad players, especially on the offensive line. We see it in the cornerback room. We see it in the linebacker room. Now, obviously, part of that has to do with some injuries. Sure. But still, again, there's barely any veteran status to this team. So Wright's job's in danger. And now we're having to prepare for the Tennessee Titans. But we're not even going to be talking about that today. We're definitely going to get involved in that later on this week. But shit. I mean, we look at this roster from top to bottom. It's terrible. It's absolutely atrocious. And then we have Panthers fans that have this hope that we're going to win another football game this season. You're out of your mind. I'll still be here. Okay, I'm Panthers ride or die. But again, if you truly think this team's winning another game this season, you're out of your mind. And and listen, guys, I'm not necessarily the one, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again, I'm not necessarily the one that wants to fire a head coach after his first season. But if we don't win another game this season, and in this case of things of not seeing progression, I think this is a necessary case for firing in the first season. So Panthers underperforming. Now that we're talking about all this. These are the guys I think have underperformed from the offensive standpoint because more or less the offense is the worst thing that we have on here. The only bright spot we've got to our team is our defense because Evero has done a hell of a job with practice squad players from the defensive side of standpoint. So I'm going to give him credit where it's due. But this offense is absolutely atrocious. And these are the players that are part of it. I thought Hayden Hurst coming here was going to be an improvement over previous players that we've had in this position, especially Ian Thomas, who, we're going to dive into his ass here shortly. However, he has struggled to make an impact, this season. He's only had 18 catches, 184 receiving yards, and 1 touchdown over 9 games. This coaching staff recently played Tommy Tremble more than Hurst, indicating their disappointment with his production. And honestly, I'm happy. I'm actually happy with Tommy Tremble's production. I feel like he has done way better from a production standpoint than Hurst has. Again, we were just talking about him, Ike Ekwonu. You break down his game film, he is not a sideline to sideline guy. He's a guard. He moves forward and backwards. That's about it. His footwork is absolutely atrocious. He's not a left tackle, and he needs to be moved to guard. Okay? All right? And I had high expectations for him. Granted, this is probably one of the worst sophomore slumps I've ever seen, but he has struggled to meet the expectations. He has regressed from his rookie season. Again, though, I still think this zone scheme that we're running with the offensive line does not fit this offensive line. Another thing that is a problem for me is that we were also running the ball, 20, 30, 40 times a game last season when Wilkes took over, and you had Deontay Foreman, you had the two-headed monster working really well with those two. And, honestly, that's the reason why it was working. So the offensive line was so good last year was because of the way they were the scheme they were running, but with running the ball heavily. And these guys are definitely better run blockers than they are pass blockers. And of course, again, losing Brady Christensen is also a huge issue too. But again, when it comes from a talent standpoint, Icky has definitely regressed. He's not a reliable blocker in either the run game or the passing game, and that's at the left tackle position. His weakness has been exposed by opposing teams, and now we're reaping the benefits of it, right? What's good this season has been one long preseason. We never improved, never adjusted. Nope, we haven't. Hurst isn't getting the targets either, though. We're force feeding the Thielen heavily. It's almost like JP. It's almost like I feel like some of the play calling when I'm watching it, it's like, okay, get the ball to Thielen on this play. Okay, get the ball to Mingo on this play. Okay, get the ball to Strachan on this play. Okay, get the ball to Sullivan on this play. It's like they're picking plays for certain players and telling Bryce this is where the ball needs to go. Honestly, that's what the play calling looks like to me. I'm not kidding you. I mean, when we were breaking down the game film yesterday, it's the same thing. Single back formation, shotgun formation. Sometimes you see a pistol here and there formation, but then it's either inside zone run up the middle to the left side or right side. There was some outside runs. There were some new outside runs. But then, again, it's like we're running the same scheme every single time. And it's the same play. It's crossing routes, slants routes, then some RPO here and there with some screens. And then it's post routes, to either Sullivan, or they try to get the ball out to Strachan in a post or Mingo in a post. And then you got some fade routes here and there. You got some hitch routes here and there. But there's no creativeness. There's no liveliness to the play calling. There's no changing it up, and it's terrible. It's terrible, and it's so predictable that defenses read it, and then they expose the rookie quarterback. They expose the offensive line. They stop the run, and wide receivers aren't getting open. And defensive coordinators are they eat that shit up. There's a reason why Hurst has been on 4 different teams since been drafted. I know, Rock. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I miss Cam, McCaffrey, DJ, Dante, PJ, CJ. He's naming all the players that are not on this team anymore. That's funny. Tommy is nice, just needs more reps. Yeah, I think he's more athletic. I think, and then plus he's younger, so he definitely, I think, deserves it. Man, I've seen Madden offense better than ours. Absolutely. I could run a better offense. I could run this team's offense better from the booth with a Madden playbook. I hope Wright and Brown aren't stupid enough to put handcuffs on their play calling like that. If so, clean house. Man, I'm already asking. I posted a short yesterday saying the Carolina Panthers need to hit the reset button. It's time to hit the reset button. It's time to have a clean slate. It's time to get a GM in here who gets to hire his head coach, who gets to say who he wants in the draft and who he gets to pick, free agent wise. That's what it needs to be. And you clean house, you build around guys like Burns and Derek Brown. And, I think you keep a guy like Xavier Woods, Von Bell. I like both of those guys. You keep Jeremy Chin on this team. You keep, you build around Luvu. So the defensively, you got the players. And then you build on. Then the only thing on the offense, you build around freaking Bryce. You build the offensive line up. You build within. Honestly, the biggest first 2 things is you build within the trenches. You build that defensive line up and that offensive line up. That's the first 2 things you do. If I'm the new GM. Rams waived Darrell Henderson. Panthers really should bring him in. I think Darrell Henderson did a good job when they got rid of Cam Akers and Karen Williams went down. I think Darrell Henderson has done a great job. He reminds me of a Deontay Foreman. I would love to have him in Carolina. I would love to have Darius Leonard in Carolina. The Colts letting him go, that would be huge for our defense. What up, Marcos? Marcos is in here. What up, Marcos? Young Rock Jones says, Young being under center actually made a difference. Plus, the play action off that formation looked legit. I like some of the bootlegs. Sometimes he goes too far outside, but again, he's still holding on to the ball too long. There's times where I watched yesterday. He should have had that ball out at least 2 to 3 seconds before the wide receiver is making he needs to understand where this guy. Sometimes I just don't understand if he knows where the wide receiver is going and what the route he's running. And so it's like he holds on to the ball too long, too late to where the ball, even if it's a crossing route, by the time this guy is stepping his feet into the ground, that ball should already be out. And he should know where that guy is crossing over to. And sometimes Bryce does not do that. Any update on JC? I know that he has been. I think he's been practicing. I don't know if he's going to make it into this game. I don't know if there's any news or updates on him yet. It does not. I know he's been practicing, if I'm not mistaken. But I know he was limited last week and he didn't make it, so that's fine by me. So he might be back this week. I don't see any news or updates on him yet. Definitely hate it for Bryce because if a new GM comes in, he's most likely going to be out of here. Yeah. Again, I think here's the issue of getting rid of Frank Wright, even though I think he's going to be gone, and we'll talk about that here more importantly. But the only case that I have for Frank Wright that of him staying is the fact of the matter that Bryce will have to learn a new playbook and have to learn a whole new coaching scheme if they get rid of Frank. And again, if there's a new GM and new head coach, right? If the GM they hire gets to pick the head coach, that head coach and GM may not want Bryce, which means they'll use him as trade bait. And it's happened before. It happened with Josh Rosen. Remember that? And they got a new GM and coach and got rid of Josh Rosen. And, I could see it happening. I could see that happening, you know? But whether that does or doesn't, we'll see. Again, we're stuck with what we got for right now. Horn will get hurt again after he comes back before the season's over. He might, man. I think he is injury prone, unfortunately. All right, let's get back into the underperforming guys. Again, Bradley Bozeman. Let's again. He has struggled this season. He's not adapt well to this new coaching staff scheme. Like I said, I don't think it fits the players though. I think the scheme's also an issue. But still, you got to be able to adapt. If you're a good player, you got to be able to adapt. Same thing with coaching. If you're a good coach, you got to be able to adapt to your players too. So again, I still believe that on this side of things, with the guys that are underperforming, schemes is an issue, but also players and coaches have to be able to adapt. Good coaches have to be able to adapt. Players have to be able to adapt. Good players will adapt to any scheme that is given to them. So it's definitely leading to a shaky performance. Definitely in front of Bryce and on running downs. Bozeman's weakness is definitely the pass protection. He's been exploited too many times, and his play has just been a liability on the field. Another one, Jonathan Mingo. Jonathan Mingo, after breaking down the game film yesterday, and that pick six, and him not even making an effort towards the ball, tells me enough that I need to see about him being a second round pick. He's made little impact on the field. He's getting targeted. He had like 3 or 4 drops in yesterday's game. Not gonna lie to you, when I broke down the game film. With other talented receivers taken after him in the draft, his lack of production is even more disappointing. And then Miles Sanders. Do I need to say any more? I mean, these players can solely be blamed for some of the struggles of this season. Coaching issues, injuries, other factors have contributed to this poor performance. I will say that. But the Panthers need these players to step up, okay? If you want to salvage any respect to what you have left in this season, okay? It's been a tough season so far. But again, these players have failed to meet expectations. And it's unfair to place all the blame on these players. I am going to say that because of the coaching staff. But they need to improve in the remaining games if they want to even have some respectable ending to this season. Okay? But on that next note, guys, there's 15 people watching. There's no reason why we shouldn't have 15 likes. Make sure as you're coming in, you pound that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. That's all I ask is you just pound that like button. All right. That's all I ask. As you come in, that's your, when you walk, it's like walking into my house and I tell you to take your shoes off. Okay. Just make sure you pound that like button. All right. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. All right. Smell you later is the next one. These are the guys I think that will be gone, though. I truly do believe it. And we'll dive into each and one of these players. I want to get through some of these comments real quick as we go through. Build around Brown, Luvu, Horn if he can stay healthy. I love it. I want Horn to stay healthy. I want him here, but I just don't know if he's going to stay healthy. Saban admitted to centering around Bryce to the Marcos, so much that other parts of the team suffer from it as well. Yeah, I mean, they brought Bill O'Brien in, right? JP, and they put a scheme around him. They put a scheme around him to really help that offense over there in Bama. That's what they did. They built the scheme around him that fit him and fit his strengths, and that's what they did. Let's get some music going while we're in here, bruh. Might as well listen to a little something. Actually, let's go with this. All right, perfect. So, anyways, a good coach will use plays. Bryce was good at in college. Yeah, he has to stop holding on the ball too long. Yep. Drivers in Horry County are the worst. Rock, they are, man. Besides your boy, I'm a pretty good driver. That 33rd pick should be O-line or power back, in my opinion, especially if I have the top tackles fall like Fu from Oregon State. I mean, here's the thing, JP. Yeah, if some of these guys fall, sure. If some of these guys fall that we're not going to be able to get, then sure. I say yes. We go after offensive line or power back, sure. I still think that you can get a guy, and I think honestly, if you can trade back, I would try to swindle somebody. I mean, in my opinion, as a GM, if I can swindle somebody out of some extra picks in this draft and I can trade back that second pick in the first round, in that second round, I'm really would try to see if I can get, trade that pick, right? And then see if I can get maybe like a third and a fifth plus their second round pick and trade back. Because then I'm able to get I can get that second round pick. Then I have 2 third rounds, and then I have like 3 fifth rounds. And there's still going to be, I still think there's like from that second to third to fourth to fifth. Yes, the talent does, Scott Fitter is right about one thing when it comes to the draft, that after certain, picks, the talent does simmer. But still, you can still find some sleepers, I think, in this year's draft between the halfback, the wide receiver position in the later rounds. And I also think that you can get depth, but you want to go offense. I think you want to go offensive line. And honestly, I'm looking for a left tackle because then I can move Icky. Because here's the thing. If you take a left tackle at that, let's say you take the left tackle at that 33rd pick, you move Icky to the left guard where he belongs, and you put that left tackle right there. And I'm talking about a true left tackle, like the guy from Washington, something like that. I mean, that's who I have my eyes on. As much as I think Xavier Legette will be right there in the second round, as much as I would love to get him. But again, we have to build within the trenches. And it doesn't matter who's here at quarterback. You got to have the protection. And I'm big on building within the trenches. So to this, that's what I got to say. What playbook? We only have handful of plays, so he shouldn't have a problem learning a new system. Yeah, I mean, if you're a good, smart quarterback, right? Yes, you shouldn't be. You should be able to adapt to anything. Braylon Allen I like him. I like him too, Marcos. I like him too. Lonzo Wright's in here. I bet y'all beat the Titans this week, and I'm a Titans fan. Lonzo Wright, I don't know, man. I'm not picking Carolina to beat y'all. And as a Carolina Panther fan, I'm just realistic. I don't see this team the way that it is from an offensive standpoint. I don't see them beating the Titans. I don't. And I will not pick them to win until proven otherwise. And I would need, for me to pick Carolina to win again, I would need like a 3-game winning streak. I'm not kidding you. I need a 3-game winning streak before I pick Carolina to win another game. Because I was all high and mighty after the bye week and we beat the Texans. But then after that, it just plummeted. The regression has been unreal for this team. And it's because of the guys that I mentioned before this underperforming. And now these guys, you can just tell them, smell you later. That's what I'm saying, JP. You get a guy at left tackle, that 33rd pick, you move Icky to the left guard, and that saves you 2 picks, basically. Instead of you going left tackle and left guard, it saves you 2 picks. Or I would like to get a center, too. I'd like to go left tackle, then center, and then move Icky to the inside. You get a nice center there at the 3rd round. And then you have built an offensive line. That's the way I would go for my first 2 picks. And then after that, see what's available. Is it better to go defensive line there, right in the 4th round? Or is it better to go ahead and take a guy like, a wide receiver there? So, but again, these guys will not be here next year. Sean Jefferson, the wide receiver coach, he has made, number one, Bryce has had, of course, issues in pass protection, which we're going to get to James Campen as well. Obviously, you see him. But the inability for these receivers to create separation, whether that's play calling or whether it's not play calling, it's an issue, okay? All right? While recruitment plays a role in this, I will say, but coaching is also involved as well, right? So Sean Jefferson, who has a strong reputation, and so is James Campen, right? But both of these guys are on the chopping block due to the lack of notable growth. Sean Jefferson for the wide receiver core, but James Campen, the offensive line is a disarray. Their performance has Bryce Young having 15 pressures, 11 quarterback hits, 7 sacks. Micah Parsons, I get it. We were playing the Cowboys, but still, there's no reason for that. I'm pretty sure this offensive line is averaging 4 to 5 sacks a game. And despite James Campen's past success, I could see them telling him to smell you later. Because, the team's struggling and this offensive line is not adapted to this new offensive scheme. And I can't stress enough that this, him being associated with being linked to this struggling team, that's an impact on really James Campen's legacy. Again. But then again, let's talk about some players though. Okay? Terrace Marshall Jr. Waste of a 2nd round pick. He has not lived up to the hype, not to expectations. He's failed to be consistently on the field and failing to contribute to this offense. He's got I think he has all the physical tools and talents. But Marshall's health scratch in week 11 really raises some questions about his future with us. He's already asked for a trade. We didn't trade him. These are potential departures that really highlight the concerns about the team's ability to scout and acquire the right talent. Right? You wasted a pick on him. You wasted a pick on Mingo, YGM, DJ Johnson. The list goes on and on and on. But then again, Marquise Haynes. The pass rushing concerns have lingered since the departure of Hassan Reddick. You didn't want to resign him. Again, injuries, poor production, granted, have affected our defense. But Marquise Haynes barely featuring this season due to a back injury. It's time for a refresh in this edge room. Again, potentially, I think Haynes will be gone next year as well. Laviska Shenault, again, he returns to the lineup. We were told that he was going to be this next Deebo Samuel, and he has not made a significant impact at all to this offense. I think that's a part of an issue to our play calling, our offensive coordinator, our Deuce Staley, Frank Wright, Sean Jefferson, Thomas Brown. I think that has reflected on Laviska Shenault's impact to this offense. They're not using him correctly. And he's a versatile weapon, but his route running is is not that good. Let's be honest. I'll be honest with you. Chenault's route running is trash. Okay. And that's the problem that he has the most, is getting open. But again, I have to put it on some of the part of the coaching because they're not using him correctly. All right. But you got to focus on acquiring talent that complements your quarterback at the end of the day. All right. And that's when Frank Reich comes in. I think his future is uncertain, and I'm not, like I said before, and I'll say it again, I'm not a huge fan of firing a head coach in their first season. But the way this team is playing, the way the lack of production, the lack of effectiveness, the liveliness in the locker room, the liveliness on the field, the non-disciplined football, there's no motivation to excel. There's no progress. There's no nothing. It's just continued to be shit and shit as time has gone on through his first season. And, that raises a lot of questions to me, to the fact that we haven't seen any improvement. We haven't seen any progress. You would think that maybe some changes would happen. Some coaching staff would be fired. The play calling would change, something. But again, there hasn't. And there's uncertainty that whether David Tepper's decision-making, many insiders, I think, have believed that Frank Reich's seat is getting incredibly hot, and it should be. I named every little last detail as to why that is. He believes in these players. He comes up to the podium. I believe in these players. I believe in our guys cold-heartedly. I believe in this coaching staff, the Avengers that I assembled and put together. I believe in them cold-heartedly. But again, guys, there's no liveliness to this football team. There's no discipline to this football team. The penalties, the turnovers are killing us. The playbook is vanilla. It is. It's still the same vanilla playbook we're seeing from the preseason. It's inside zone, run up the middle to the left or right-hand side. Granted, in this last game, we saw some outside runs. But again, the play calling from the wide receiver standpoint and for the quarterback is not working, and it does not fit the offensive line scheme either. And there's been no progress. There's been no improvement. There's been no trying to change anything. We're still doing the same bullshit. And Frank Reich, if you're not going to make any changes, the owner will, and he's already got your ass on fire, boiling hot. And it's not, and honestly, I think it's just necessary at this point, because look at the record. The record shows it. The team, how they're playing, shows it. Again, he will not. I just don't see Frank Reich being here next year, and he shouldn't be. And if he is, then we really, really have a problem. If Scott Bitter is still here and Frank Reich's still here, we really have an ownership problem. Then that really falls on the fact of the owner. But these are the guys I don't see being here next year. And there may be some other guys. I think Hayden Hurst probably will be gone next year. I think Dante Jackson will probably be gone next year. I think Ian Thomas will probably be gone next year. And probably, and then of course, these guys. And honestly, if we look at the cap room, if we go and put down the list of the guys that I was saying that won't be here next year, it's definitely, I know for a fact, between Ian Thomas, Dante Jackson, and Hayden Hurst. And then there's one more player. I think it might be Laviska Shenault or Terrace Marshall. But it opens up like $17 million in cap space if we release those guys. So, again, some of it, there is a good to it, but there is a bad to it. But I just don't see these guys being here. Really don't. Guys, as you're coming in, make sure you pound that like button. Make sure you pound that like button. That's all I ask. Get in the comment section. Love to hear your thoughts as we're going throughout this show. Love to hear y'all's thoughts. Let me get in the comment section. Let's see who my last comment was. Okay. I hope Fit is gone next week. I hope so too, man. Dave Nugent from Michigan Wolverines. That's your center. He might be hard to get, honestly, JP. I could see him getting picked in the first round. I really do. We need the assistant GM from the 49ers. I either want him or I want the assistant GM from Kansas City. Agree, Clay. Camp might be one of the first coaches out. And it's unfortunate because he has a great reputation, but he has not lived up to the hype. We gotta start trading up, maybe trading back, but not too far back. That way we're able to pick up more picks, which are needed because there are not good at drafting, in my opinion. Yeah, Rock. Again, I think that it comes down to who our next GM is, and hopefully Scott Fitter is not here next year because, or before the, hopefully he's not, because again, I don't trust him to make the draft picks. I don't trust his scout team to make the right draft picks for this team. I don't. Nah, he wasn't. Never was. I never thought that. I thought he would be a breakout player, but never thought he was going to replace DJ. I thought he was going to be a guy that comes out and at least puts up 500-600 yards and a couple touchdowns. But he can't even do that. The playbook is really a lot like the 90s, in my opinion. It's atrocious. It's atrocious, man. It's very predictable there, and there's no creativeness to it. I need Bob Tight head coach. Throw a chair during the game, fuck ups. Like, hey, JP, I need that too. I like the way. Honestly, I want a Dan Campbell here so badly. I want a guy like Dan Campbell. Steve Wilkes was basically the next thing that we had, or closest thing that we had to a Dan Campbell, probably. But I need a guy like that that's going to get into these guys' face, let them know when they screw up, but also lets them know when they do something right, and lets them know, hey, good job. Continue playing like that. Fight hard. Fight for the next guy beside you. That's the mentality that Dan Campbell has, and I want a coach like that. I want a guy that wants his players to excel. You know what I mean? So, it depends who we get, though. It's confusing that Frank didn't learn anything from his mistakes in Indy because it's potentially the same MO. Yep. But that's the thing, man. Rock, I believe that Frank should have never came here. He wasn't ready to coach again, in my opinion. I think he should have taken some time off, or he should have considered retiring. And of course, it was just like, well, let's hop right back on the saddle. But he didn't have any time to contemplate or think about the issues that he had going on in Indy. Hurst got a 3-year deal like Thielen, I think. We already got enough dead cap as is. Yeah, but next year, JP, I broke it down. The dead cap next year will be less. It will only be like $1 million. So if we cut him, yes, we'll have some dead cap from him. But then the cap space will go up. The cap space for that year will go up. So granted, I get it. But again, we'll have more cap space during that free agency next year, and we'll be able to sign some guys. We would have a better potential of doing so then than we do now, right? If that makes sense. I broke it down the other day, and we can do it again. I can show you. Better win this Sunday. Ernest, I'm not picking them to win. Don't trust Fitter either, Clay. Nope, I don't. Yeah, JP, I'll have to show. Maybe I'll break it down at the end. I'll show you how the cap space thing works. It's pretty interesting. All right, let's move on to the next topic here. Time for these guys to sit their ass down. It's just time for these guys to sit their ass down. And there's the Bryce thing. There's no hate to Bryce on this. Okay, this has to do with something else. All right. This has to do with something else, and I'll explain why. Okay? I'm not hating on Bryce. More or less, I'm just thinking that it's time for them to sit him down. Because, again, this team's overall performance has just been nothing but disappointing. All right? And it does raise a lot of questions to the coaching staff's decisions, the players' contributions. There is just some people that should just not see another snap in 2023. And number one, it's Ian Thomas. All right. He has failed for how many years at being on this team? He has failed to do anything And the decision to extend Thomas ahead of the 2022 season was one of the most questionable calls I've ever seen, especially considering the fact of his minimal production. And with just 2 receptions for 36 yards in the season, that just shows you the lack of a receiving threat that he is. And that puts him at the bottom of the tight end depth chart. Tommy Tremble and Steven Sullivan have made more impact than Thomas has ever has. And considering the fact that the potential cap savings of $2.35 million, if you cut ties with Thomas, that seems more like the logical move to me when you're saving $2.3 million. That seems the more logical move to me when you're not getting any production out of them. Like, what are we doing? Again, why are we starting a guy with a PFF grade of a 26? You know what Chandler Zavala's PFF grade was for Sundays? Overall, it was a 10. He has regressed significantly. He is, granted, I get it. He's a rookie. But my God, he is a developmental project. That is what he is. And Zavala has proven that he is unprepared to be an NFL starter in this league. And what in God's name and right mind did they think that Zavala was prepared to be an NFL starter is beyond me. You just start him, he comes off an injury. You start him back against the Dallas Cowboys to go up against one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. No, the best pass rusher in the NFL. Sorry. That literally mounted Zavala's ass to the wall and dominated him through the whole damn game. And this offensive line, again, allowed 7 sacks, 15 pressures, and 11 quarterback hits. To protect the starting quarterback, you got to consider benching Zavala, give opportunities to Cade Mays or Nash Jensen, because Zavala ain't getting it done. You chose to let Throckmorton go, who was way better than Zavala was, but yet again, we want to talk about, let's start Chandler Zavala. And let's start him coming back off of an injury against Micah Parsons. How the fuck does that make sense, guys? From a coaching staff standpoint. Number 2, another one. I think Dante Jackson needs to be sit down, but here's the reason why. Granted, he has shown some improvement, but his inconsistency remains a concern to me. And then again, considering the potential salary cap savings over $10 million with that post-June 1st designation, parting ways with Jackson could be a prudent financial move for the Panthers, because despite the efforts of defensive back coach Jonathan Cooley, Jackson lapses on the field, and such as allowing a free run up the seam for a touchdown against the Cowboys. I think it's a suggestion that it's a need for younger players to step into more prominent roles, because with J.C. Horn, C.J. Henderson in the mix, Jackson may become surplus to requirements. So again, that's why I would sit him down. And then again, Bryce. My suggestion to benching Bryce, I understand may raise some eyebrows to you guys. But it's a rooted concern for me and for his well-being. I'm thinking about his well-being more than I am with the issues that he does have. I know we've seen toughness out of the kid, but he has been under constant pressure. He's been sacked 36 times in 9 games. 36 times in 9 games, guys. he's been sacked. So what's that an average of? That's 4 sacks a game. Take 36 divided by 9. Guess what you get? 36. 36 divided by 9, you get 4. That's 4 sacks a game this kid's getting. The lack of reliability, receiving options, has further compounded these issues. Again, you got questionable decision making. You got, which has made increasing mistakes for the rookie. You got to put a safety net on this kid. Young's physical and mental health is a concern, is an issue now after how many games so far? 9 games. I would consider going ahead, putting Andy Dalton in the rest of the season. For some reason, he's faced fewer sacks in his starts, but it just might be a wise move at this point. This is a strategic decision. You got to offer Young the opportunity to develop, protect him for the remainder of the season. Whether you want it, whether you like it or not. That Ian Stuntman Thomas, dude. Yeah, he might want to think about riding 4-wheelers for the rest of his life, or sending an application into Burger King or something. Because Ian Thomas, I hope that you got your degree at Indiana. I hope you got your degree in Indiana, because you might want to update your resume. Just saying. This is a better schedule from here on out, so I'm in the camp of continuing to start Bryce. I can't. Not after seeing what I saw against Dallas, and then in 9 games, there's been a total of 36 sacks from this offensive line. But again, it's all Bryce's fault. But again, let's go right to Bryce. That's why I want to comment. That's why I got so pissed off yesterday with some of the people in my chat. Yes, Bryce has his issues. Sure. But 9 sacks and 36 sacks in 9 games? Again, make it make sense, guys. Make it make sense. But we want to go to right off the bat and say that it's Bryce's fault. He's not it. He's the issue. And there's content creators out there that do that. You do that, okay? But again, mention all the multiple other issues that we have besides Bryce. Bryce has his tendencies. He has his issues, sure. Right? But again, look at this roster. Look at the coaching staff. Look at the coaching staff. Oh, he got absolutely destroyed, James. Micah Parsons took his ass and mounted him. It is sinful. Throckmorton I know Throckmorton didn't have a better PFF grade, and he wasn't much. I mean, he was better, but I mean, by how much, right? But he was better production-wise than Zavala it was. And then you want to bring Zavala back after coming off an injury, back when he played against Detroit, and you want to put him against Micah Parsons? That is just a terrible move by the front office and coaching staff to let Throckmorton go. And then it was a bad move by the coaching staff to start Zavala coming back against Micah Parsons. Makes no damn sense. I wouldn't be opposed to Cam coming and being and helping out, but I don't know if Cam would do that. I need a coach that will bench players. during the game if he's killing the team. I feel that too, Rock. I feel that too. And that's part of the issue too, Ant. That's part of the issue too. Kareem Jackson will be a free agent. Sign him. He can be that coach on the field. I like Kareem Jackson. I just don't know how much time I don't know how old he is and how much time he has left in the NFL. He would definitely bring that veteran status, though, for sure. Frank has to go. I agree. Yeah, good Andy Ann. Jeff R's in the chat. What up, Jeff? Jeff says, we need a quick sift wide receivers that can create space quickly. Jameson Williams, Jeff? Jameson Williams? Our play calling needs to allow Bryce to get the ball out quickly. The only way to compensate for a bad O-line. I think another wide receiver that maybe because I am going to be talking about guys here in a minute who I think we need to target in free agency. And this is just another list that I made up. But again, if I'm really looking at the free agency and I'm looking at wide receiver wise, I'm either looking at Jameson Williams, which I don't think he's a free agent after this year. But he could be a guy that we could target maybe with a trade or something like that. And then, or I'm looking at Devontae Smith, because Devontae Smith is a free agent, and I don't know how much cap space the Eagles have left, but he could. Again, he's played with Bryce, so it would make sense, right? You need a better QB, better vet than Andy Dalton. AJ McCarron and Cam Newton are better teachers, just in my opinion. Maybe so. Josh McCown could also be the problem there too, Kyrito. We got to think about that. Everyone knew it was going to be bad against Dallas. I think so, but some people were picking them to, for some reason, pull the upset, Josh. So why ISM can't run deep routes or any routes on offense is puzzling. He's just not that good. Let's just call it what it is, Rock. He's just not good. ISM is just not good. And we've seen it on punt returns. Yeah, he had one punt return for a touchdown. But other than that, he's been atrocious. He has not made any impact on the field. Let's just be honest. This roster from top to bottom was not built correctly, and it was ass. And it was terrible free agents moves by our front office and scout team, and it was bad drafting by our front office and scout team. Simple and easy as that. Kareem Jackson, 35-year-old, but he's still physically fit. I mean, I don't want to bring anybody here that's 35, Carrito. We saw that with Houston. You saw that with Houston when we brought Houston here, and he has done nothing. The father time catches up to these guys way too quick, Carrito. If I'm bringing anybody, the oldest I'm bringing in is someone that's 30 years old. Once someone is in their 30s in the NFL, you sign him for a 2-year deal, and that's it. Now, Thielen's a maybe different specimen, but again, there's just guys that father time catches up quicker too. Cam doesn't have the personality of a backup QB. He's boastful and out loud type, always has been. First mistake, fans will be screaming for Cam. Bad idea. JP, I get that too. I understand that comment there wholeheartedly. I understand what you're saying. You have to let Bryce play against a better schedule the remaining season. Otherwise, the narrative Bryce is a bust. He won't be considered a bust if you sit the kid. I don't think you consider Bryce a bust if you sit him the rest of the season. It's just you're protecting your quarterback. You're protecting your franchise guy that you drafted in the first round. The offensive line is doing him no favors. The kid's going to get killed. Mentally and physically, he will not develop. And you want him to develop correctly. I think you have to sit Bryce. I do. And let him develop from the bench and watch. At least from this point. If you want better teacher for Bryce Young, King, you don't care about personality. You do what was best for the team and player. I mean, Kyrito, but it's still his personality might not mix well with what JP's saying. Cam's personality might not mix well with Bryce. Again, there's multiple things here that you have to think about when it comes to teaching and coaching. Like, does that combo make sense, right? Moves that need to be made. That's the next topic. Guys, as you're coming in, make sure you pound that like button. I greatly appreciate it. Bringing out some raw content today. This is just a bunch of topics I wanted to get off my chest and I put together. But moves that need to be made. Again, with the free agency coming up next year, there's one particular concern, of course, is that offensive line. They definitely need to address this issue. I think they should pursue Robert Hunt. He's an offensive lineman for the Miami Dolphins. Hunt has been excellent this season for the Dolphins, and he would be an immediate upgrade to our interior offensive line. Another one to help with the pass rush would be Josh Uche. I think I pronounced him correctly. He's an edge rusher for the New England Patriots. He would be an excellent addition, although he is entering his prime, so it might be kind of harder to get. He might end up being a trade guy. Is a relatively young player. I think could definitely thrive in a better environment, at least from a defensive standpoint. I think he would be a great pickup to have alongside with Brian Burns. Another person on the defensive side is Kendall Fuller. I would consider pursuing him because of the cornerback needs that we need. Fuller, he's consistent in coverage. Tackling makes him more attractive options. He's great in open field tackling. And that has been a struggle, in our secondary this year. We've struggled tremendously. Another one I would say is Calvin Ridley. All right. I know the Jaguars got that trade for him, but again, they haven't signed him again. He's explosive. He's definitely an affordable option as a free agent. I think the Panthers need someone who can create separation, something that Ridley excels at. And I think the Jaguars may not have the finances to keep Ridley, and that could put Panthers as a high alert for us to target him. And then, of course, another option. We talked about this guy before when he was going through his time with Tampa Bay. I think Mike Evans. I know he's older. I know that contract I think you could get him for a contract like DeAndre Hopkins. And Evans is considered one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL. But of course, he's had 10 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons, and he's consistently making an impact on the field. He would be a great asset to our team, I think. Especially, he has been a constant thorn in our side, right? I would love to secure his services. It would require the Panthers maybe to probably overpay due to the high interest in him with other teams. But I think they need to act aggressively to secure a wide receiver option, whether that's through the draft or whether that's through, the free agency. But these are guys that I think we could potentially target, and must make significant risks to improve the team. You know what I mean? All right. That's all I had to say about that. Let me see the chat here. Corbett is on IR again. Are you fucking kidding me? Clay, read the chat. Can you confirm if you bring Kendall Fuller, might as well bring Kyle Fuller from Virginia Tech Brotherhood back? That'd be sick. That would be sick, Carito. Let me see if this is true. Dear God. Give me a second. Let me see if this comment's true. Son of a bitch. When it rains, it pours. Dude, it doesn't. I mean, dude, this is insane. Here it is for you right there, folks. It's right there. Austin Corbett has been placed on IR and will be lost for the rest of the season. And then DiCaprio Boodle has been placed on IR as well. Oh, when it rains, it pours. Yep. So then, Josh, it's time to sit. It's time to sit Bryce. It's time to sit him because now your left guard and right guard's out for the season. Your center sucks, and your left tackle is not a left tackle. He's a left guard, and he sucks too. So, and he's going through one of the worst sophomore slumps. It's time to sit your rookie quarterback and put in Andy Dalton, or this kid is going to get killed. Again, Panthers hit rock bottom. I'm glad I named this live stream today. I'm glad I named this live stream today that Panthers hit rock bottom because it has. It has completely hit rock bottom. Panther Raider X are deleting search histories. Why are you doing that, bro? Huh? Why are you deleting them search histories, bro? Huh? Why are we deleting them search histories, bro? What you been watching on that computer? Ah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Oh, man. Like I said, guys, when it rains, it pours. It's time for, dude, the turf issue is becoming a big, huge thing, man. Over 85% of the players in the NFL are literally wanting the turf fields to go, and it's proven to that. But the problem is the reason why we got these turf fields and these stadiums is because of the soccer teams that are in these cities that these professional soccer teams that they brought in. Because the turf is better for soccer players. At least from my understanding. But still, who cares? Football brings in more money. Real football. You know, not the football. Real football. Corbett is out for the season. Yep. And probably Boodle is too then. If he's on IR. Because you can only bring 4 players back off of IR. They brought Haynes back. They're going to bring J.C. Horn back. They brought Corbett back off of IR. So that's 3. So who else, have we brought anybody else back off of IR? Because we can only bring 4 players back off of IR. So we brought Haynes back. You're going to bring J.C. Horn back. You brought Corbett back. So who else was also brought off of IR? That's the question. Did we bring anybody else off? Because you still got Jeremy Chin on IR. Didn't we bring Xavier Woods back off of IR? So that's 4 players already brought off, and you're not going to be able to bring anybody back. Now, Bryce wasn't considered IR. He was just considered out that week. How many people can you bring? I think you can only bring 4 players back off of IR. How many players can a team Bring back off IR. Oh, they can bring up to 8 players. Okay. They can bring up to 8 players. Okay. Never mind. You can bring up to 8 players to return from IR during the season, and an individual player can be designated to the IR twice. Got you. Okay. Yeah, Bryce was never put on IR. He was just out that week. He was just out. Henderson, no. But again, so we've made 4 or 5. We've brought back at least 4 or 5 guys off IR. So we got three, maybe 3 or 4 positions left. I want to say we brought in 4 or 5 players off of IR, and we only have like 3 or 4 play. Now we can only bring 3 or 4 players back again before the end of the season. I mean, that's just huge, man. So that means that Zavala will still play left guard, or unless they put him back over there at the right side, like they played him in preseason. But letting go Throckmorton and Deontay Brown isn't looking too good now, is it? We let it go Throckmorton and Deontay Brown, and now we're stuck with Nash Jensen, Sharp, Brett Trott, and Cade Mays. Yeah, that's rough. That is absolutely rough. Our offensive line's got to be ranked 32nd in the league. I guarantee you. Carolina Panthers. O-line ranking. There ain't no fucking way. There ain't no fucking way. Okay, this is score based on average ranks of potential unit for all 32 teams. Sharp football voters. Wait a minute. This was back in July. I'm talking about right now. Let's see. It's got to be 32. There's no way it's not. I don't know how. But PFF has this ranked 24th in the league. Right now, PFF has this ranked after week 11. So to your question, here you go. PFF has us ranked 24th in the league for the offensive line. But that's definitely going to drop now. There's just no way. But I can guarantee you now, letting Throckmorton go and Deontay Brown definitely looks like shit now, doesn't it? It has to. It has to make you think. Run grade helps Clay. Yeah, I know that, but still. 24th. There's an offensive line worse than us. Apparently, the Jets' offensive line is worse than ours. Let's see what they, at least from the PFF grade. Let's see. Let's see what offensive lines are worse than ours. And then I got one more topic that I want to talk to y'all about. But, again, when it rains, it pours, man. You let Throckmorton go. You let Deontay Brown go. Trent Richardson is gone forever, my friend. Carita, that would never happen. He's gone forever. All right, let's see. Let's see what teams are better than us or worse than us offensive line standpoint. Jets. They got the Jets, the Commanders, the Saints. Jacksonville. Seattle. Missing some other guys, I feel like. Oh, there we go. Chicago and Tennessee, who are playing this week. And the Giants. But somehow we're ranked 24th. Somehow we're ranked 24th. There's no doubt in my mind we're the worst offensive line in the league. You allowed 36 sacks in 9 games. That would never happen. I kind of believe that list. I don't know how. I'm kind of mind blown. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm kind of mind blown. Not gonna lie. All right, last topic I want to bring up here, and that is, dude, Simmons is gonna have a game. All right. My fair evaluation, my friends. My fair evaluation of Bryce Young. It's been a rough start. Again, like I said, 9 games, 36 sacks allowed. And then over in the last 5 games, it's been 24. He's been sacked 24 times. Then he faced 7 sacks against the Cowboys. 12 quarterback hits, 15, 16 pressures. Again, Micah Parsons, fun fact, a fun stat for you guys. Out of the 8 out of the 10 pressures Micah Parsons had, he was in the backfield within 2.5 seconds. But I think it's premature for any of us to write off Bryce when there's multiple issues here. Again, the lack of support around him, the offensive line. We just lost Austin Corbett again. It makes it impossible to get a fair evaluation of this kid's ability, in my opinion. And Frank Wright remains, of course, Frank Wright's the one who still remains optimistic, Mr. Optimistic, but Mr. Depressing optimistic of Young's potential. Of course, he's still at the podium looking like he drank a case of Budweiser and had a pack of Marlboro Reds. But praising the mental toughness of his character, which I do think the kid's mentally tough and he's got good character. But he believes that Young is capable of handling the pressure, elevating his game, and the team giving him some time and support. Wright's opinion of Young has been that he is the franchise guy. He has not wavered that despite this team's losing streak. He's encouraged by Young's ability to make every throw, process the information, work hard to prove every day. Well, I am going to say this. I think Bryce has the ability to make the throws, but not every throw. Okay, I'm still going to give him a fair evaluation, but again, he cannot make every throw. We've seen it with the deep ball passing. He has issues there. I don't think he processes information as well as I think a lot of people think he does, or at least from his draft evaluation. But again, that's also because that could be a coaching issue. That could also be the play calling issue. And it's also due to the fact that an offensive line doesn't even give him time to do so. Okay, so there's multiple factors in the processing information issue. But again, there has been times where Bryce has time and he makes the wrong decision. Whether that's him second guessing himself or whether the play calling was to go to that player. Again, because like I said, this play calling has been lifeless. It's not been creative at all. And again, it's that we're seeing it. All right. But he does work hard to improve every day. We know that. We hear about it. We see it. We know that Bryce works hard. Now, Wright believes that Young has what it takes to be successful in the NFL. I think he does too. But he's definitely was not a first-round pick, in my opinion. He's a first-round pick, but not the first overall pick, in my opinion. He was the project that we thought AR-15 and CJ Stroud were. He's more of a project than them two, I think. And it will take time to build a team around him. One of the concerns about Young in the draft process was his size, was his ability to withstand the physical demands of the NFL. And then, of course, we got Joseph in here, who's Mr. Troll himself about Mr. Bryce, saying that quarterback's a must. Oh, yeah, quarterback's a must? How about this offensive line? Make it make sense, Joseph. Dude. Again, Joseph, I'm just going to read some statistical facts to you real quick. 9 games, 36 sacks have been allowed. Out of the 10 pressures that Micah Parsons got, he was in the backfield in 2.5 seconds. But let's go ahead and say we need to call this quarterback a bust when the offensive line is a bust. If you want to say anything's a bust. Granted, yes, Bryce has his issues. And I've already spoke about that. Okay? He's not very good at deep. He does not make every throw. And he can't make every throw. And that's a project issue, especially when it comes to the deep ball accuracy. Processing information, that has been an issue. But again, that could come from the offensive line giving him the correct time, not creating run lanes to take the pressure off of him. It also could be considered the play calling and coddling him to a point of Frank Reich holding him like a baby, holding him back. The play calling is atrocious. There's no creativeness to it. But again, we want to jump to the fact that this kid's a bust. He's a project. And every rookie quarterback is not going to come out here and beat Pat Mahomes. But this kid does work hard. And it will take time to improve. Again, but we've got to help him out with the offensive line and with the weapons to put around him. You've got to be able to put a competent offensive line around your quarterback. Your quarterback's not going to be good if he doesn't have time to throw the ball. Your quarterback's not going to be good if he doesn't have time to process the play. So again, guys, we have to make it make sense. Your quarterback's not going to be good if the scheme doesn't fit your offensive line. That's protecting him. Your quarterback is not going to be good if your wide receivers are dropping balls and they're not getting open and creating separation. So this is why I'm giving Bryce a fair evaluation, because he came to one of the worst situations in football. Whether you want to agree with that or not, he did. Look at this roster from top to bottom and tell me, you're telling me that it's better. It's better than the Texans? You're out your mind. They have a legitimate left tackle who has made a Pro Bowl more than one time. They also, but again, this kid has issues, but again, so does this team. So we can't just jump off the gun and just say, well, this is Bryce. This is all on Bryce. This is Bryce's fault. It's a owner fault for meddling with football operations, number one. Number two, it's your GM's fault for drafting no talent and picking players over other talented players that are now way better than way better than J.C. Horn, like Patrick Surtain, Micah Parsons. You passed up on Justin Fields. Could have had him, whether you wanted him or not. Just saying, it's another name you could throw out there. You passed up on Tank Dell. You went with Jonathan Mingo. You passed up on Monroe St. Brown. You went with Terrace Marshall Jr. Again, from the drafting standpoint, the talent has not been there. Again, the talent and depth that our GM brought in said there was only one negative when they looked at this roster on paper. Look where that's gotten us. Now your right guard's out for the season all over again. That came off an ACL. Your left guard is out for the season. You let your more productive left guard go, and you put in a rookie, and he gets absolutely torched, and Micah Parsons mounts his ass on the wall. Granted, it was Micah Parsons, but still. You let Deontay Brown go, and then we're stuck with David Sharp, Brett Trott, Cade Mays, and Nash Jensen on the offensive line. So now, which are all developmental players, they're all developmental players on the offensive line because you have no veterans. All your veteran players are hurt or underperforming. Again, wide receivers creating no separation, tight ends creating no separation, dropping balls. The run game is atrocious. Miles Sanders hasn't lived up to his contract that we gave him. But we want to go off and start off on Bryce. Bryce has his mistakes. I've admitted that. I counted them when I broke down the game film. Yes, he's got issues. Deep ball accuracy. Okay? Holds on to the ball too long. Okay? Makes the wrong decisions. Second guesses himself. Okay, he has those issues. And that's on him. But those are things that you can develop with a guy and make things can get better. Okay? But again, you got to put a roster and a scheme that fits your quarterback. And we can sit here and say, well, I wanted CJ Stroud. So what? You didn't get him. He's at the Texans, and he's never coming here. So get it out your fucking brain. You can say, well, Bryce isn't the guy. Okay, fine. That's what you think. Good for you. Guess what? He's here now, and you're stuck with him for the next 3 to 3 years, at least. So at this point, you might as well embrace the fact that he's here. He's going to be here for the next 3 years, whether the next GM wants him and the next head coach wants him or not, because they could end up doing a Josh Rosen thing where they just say, I don't want him. But you got to hope that David Tepper takes a step back and says, I can't get involved in football operations. I've already fucked up too much. So you've got to take David Tepper, whoever the next GM and next head coach may be, they both, the number one thing is that the GM should be allowed to pick his next head coach, and then the GM and the head coach hopefully are on the same page. Because I don't think the GM and the head coach here right now are on the same page by any means. But it's going to take a team to build around Bryce. And one of the concerns about Bryce in the drafting process, again, was his size. What is his ability to withstand the physical demands of the NFL, right? Taking those hits. But he's shown that he can take a beating and absorb hits besides that minor ankle injury earlier in the season. You know what I mean? Batted balls haven't been an issue. The batted balls have not been an issue, even for his size. It's unfair to judge Young, I think, and predict his future as a quarterback based off the current situation he's came into. And that's all I'm saying. We have one of the worst offensive line in the league, a lack of talent at the wide receivers who constantly get separation besides a 32-year-old Adam Thielen. And I think we have to be fair and say until those issues are addressed, Young's potential cannot be fully realized. You cannot sit here and say that. It might take an off season or two to fix the offense and give the support that that he needs. But it's too early to label Young a bust or say that he doesn't have it. He has shown mental toughness, I think. He has shown character. He has shown work ethic, which are all essential qualities that you need to be a successful quarterback in the NFL. But I think with time, support, and improvement in the team's offensive line and receivers, I think Young could be a good quarterback. I just think that we jump to conclusions too quickly based off of 9 games that he's played. But when we don't want to mention the fact that we have not seen any improvement, we have not seen any improvement from the offensive line. Again, injuries have burned us there. Wide receivers, again, the lack of talent and depth there. They've also had injury concerns too. I just don't see how we can just jump the narrative though and say that this guy's a bust. I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it's a fair narrative. And some of you need to make it make sense to me to understand it for me to why this guy's a bust. Whether he is it or not, again, put some support around this kid, and then let's see if it has it or not. Give him a competent offensive line that can block for him. Give him the wide receivers, the weapons that he needs, and see if he's got what it takes. I mean, Miami was there. I mean, if you go watch TD Finn's talk on YouTube, he said that they were in the same position when they got Tua. And then they built a competent offensive line and they put 2 stud wide receivers out there. Because I asked them, I saw a podcast with him and TD. I can't remember if it was Black Cat Panther podcast or who it was. It was one of the Panthers content creators, but it was when we played Miami. And he was saying that they were in the same place. They were having ownership issues. They were having the coaching issues. They were having the GM issues. And it took them to get a new GM, a new head coach. They got Tua. Then they built the offensive line up around him. They got him Waddle and Tyreek Hill. And then they were able to start winning games. Joseph, we can afford it just like any team in the league. The problem is that our cap space has been ruined by terrible deals that we've made in the past. That's the issue. The cap space has been used up by making the wrong transitions and the wrong signings and the wrong deals and the wrong trades. Because we're still playing players, we're still playing coaches that aren't even here. It has nothing to do about a small market. Our cap space is just as much as anybody else. But we also have ruined ourselves with the dead cap. Again, the small market means nothing. The cap space is the cap space. You go look at it. The dead cap kills us because of the players we have released or trade that we're still paying. And that's the simple matter of that. So that's my fair evaluation of Bryce. I just think that, listen, I'm not saying he's it. But I want to be fair to the kid. I want to be fair to the kid if we're going to give an evaluation. I'm not saying he's it. I'm not saying he's a bust. Not saying he's a franchise quarterback. Not saying that he's not. I'm giving you a fair evaluation of my opinion, what I think, and I'm not going to jump to conclusions when he came to one of the worst situations in football. And I don't think it's fair to evaluate him as a bust when you don't have a competent offensive line. The coaching is atrocious. Like I said, there's no life to our coaching staff. There's no creativeness to the play calling. There's no improvement, progression that we're seeing from this coaching staff. There's no change. There's no nothing. We are just stuck in this pothole of shit. And it's like we can't get out. Basically, Carolina Panthers are in a situation of like you hang out with this chick, she's good looking and everything, but she gives you a terrible blowjob. Sorry, but that's the way it is. You get what you pay. You get what you pay for. So that is my fair evaluation of Bryce. Guys, we went over a lot of topics today. We talked about the offensive line, some news, some updates. What Cam had to say about maybe coming back to the league. Frank Wright on the hot seat. The ESPN has us ranked now as the 32nd worst team in the NFL. Bryce Young needs to take a seat. Rest of the season. Panthers players that I feel that are underperforming, as you can see here. Smell you later. These are guys that I think won't be here next season, and probably some others. Players and coaches alike. We talked about time for these guys to sit down, but now with the only person here that's probably going to be sitting down is none of them, maybe besides Ian Thomas. Moves that I think need to be made. Guys I would like to target in the offseason. Mike Evans, Calvin Ridley, Kendall Fuller, Josh Uche. Robert Hunt, it's another guy. And then I gave you my fair evaluation of Bryce. Again, I appreciate everyone joining today. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. I've got to hop off here. I really appreciate all y'all's love and support that you continue to do when you come in here, get in the comment section. I love hearing y'all's thoughts. I do, even though if I don't agree with them. I appreciate everyone pounding that like button as you come in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new content. I would greatly appreciate it. Did y'all hear anything I said? Because it looks like I'm lagging. Dude, my internet has been shit lately. Sorry, guys. Are y'all still in here? My internet has been going in and out. What the fuck? Sorry, man. Sorry, guys. My internet was going in and out for some reason. For some reason, I guess because it's raining here. Let me see what y'all are saying. And sometimes that's all you need, Marcos. Sometimes you need all you need. Feliz da del Pavo. I mean, yes, that means happy Thanksgiving. Keep pounding. Yes, sir. Get your draft content ready, Clay. It's been that kind of year. I've already done a couple mock drafts. We'll definitely do some more. Sorry, guys. My internet went in and out. I didn't get to say goodbye to you guys properly. Keep pounding. Yes, sir. You keep pounding as well. Panther Raider X, you had a question. If the Bank of America Stadium has Panthers logos built onto the outside of the stadium, why do we use it for Tupper's fucking? Dude, I don't know, man. I don't know, Panther Raider X. That's a good question. That's something you have to ask the owner yourself. But anyways, guys, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Again, as you're coming, if you're watching this again or watch the replay, make sure you pound the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Guys that are in here, thank you for all your love and support. I am thankful for you guys. So happy Thanksgiving to you and your families. I hope you have a blessed day tomorrow with your families and enjoy Thanksgiving. If you are thankful for me, just make sure you pound the like button and subscribe to the channel. That's it. All right. But I love to hear y'all's thoughts as we go through every show. So y'all are awesome getting in the comment section. Sorry I got out of here. But anyways, guys, I'm going to hop off. I've got to go. Again, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream and have a happy Thanksgiving. And as always, keep pounding. Peace.